So first of all, let's talk about blue chip stocks. Blue chips are stocks of well-established, financially stable, and well-managed companies. It's companies with decades, if not centuries, of records and operating history. They've been through all kinds of different economic conditions. There are larger companies that may not be growing as fast, but they're less volatile and more consistent than newer startup and growth stocks. Most of them pay dividends to shareholders, which is great because that gives you the opportunity to reinvest those dividends, allowing you to earn compound interest. So that's why I love blue chips. They're also a great option for beginners to consider because you're very unlikely to get burned or, to lose all of your money purchasing a blue chip company. And we'll go over some examples of them too, just so you guys have some tangible examples. Growth stocks, on the other hand, are stocks of companies that are increasing in value rapidly. Earnings are expected to grow at a faster rate than the market or industry average. They're more recently formed companies, and they're not time-tested like the blue chip peers. They're typically significantly more volatile than blue chip stocks, and in terms of that PE or price to earnings ratio, which we said earlier is essentially how much money you're paying per exposure of $1 of that company's earnings, you typically see the PE ratio be much higher in a growth stock versus a blue chip stock because of the anticipated growth. Now, there's another metric I like called the forward PE ratio that projects forward into the future based on earnings estimates and tells you what that PE is likely to come in at in the future if the company hits those revenue and earnings targets. And then for the final category, we have our penny stocks. In my opinion, there's no business of these being in your investing portfolio. Speculative investments are a form of gambling. I'm not saying to avoid them entirely, but put them in a separate portfolio based on the teachings here of that book right there, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. So I have my main portfolio where I have my blue chip dividend payers. Then I have my play money portfolio, which is a much smaller amount of money. And that's where I do my speculations, and that's where I play around. I'm not saying you shouldn't play around with the market, but any money that goes into your speculative account, you should be willing to lose 100% of that money. So you don't put your rent money in there. You don't put your inheritance in there. This is just play money. Treat it as if you were going to the casino and playing roulette. That's pretty much the equivalent of speculating in the market.